A lot of states right now are suffering with homelessness. Their citizenry is really, really going through a lot. The state of California is one major example of a state that has lost control. They have people walking down the streets who are suffering from homelessness, but they also have mental health issues. Some of them even have other problems, such as terrible drug addictions. And California, as a state, has attempted to address these issues. However, just recently, California Gavin Newsom, the governor, he has been under fire for the act that actually will put people away. And it doesn't take anyone in their family to have these individuals who are apparently appearing to have had a diagnosis or having some type of behavior put away. California has a brand new law, as their governor has asked and has okayed a mental health court. Mental health court. So, with more than 100,000 people living on California streets, the governor signed the first of its kind law that could force some of them into treatment as a part of a program that he describes as care. But opponents argue is cruel. This story will be down below inside of the description for you, should you elect to read all of the bullet points. But it does say that Newsom signed the Community Assistance Recovery and Empowerment Act on Wednesday, and it would let family members, first responders, and others ask a judge to draw up a plan for someone diagnosed with certain disorders, including schizophrenia. Those who refuse could be placed under a conservatorship and ordered to comply. Hey, King BJ, and hey, Sandy. So they could just be ordered to comply. Right now, homeless people with severe mental health disorders bounce from the streets to jails and hospitals. They can be held against their will with a at a psychiatric hospital there in the state of California, I believe in other places as well, for up to 72 hours, which is the equivalent of 3 days. But they must be released. Now, get this, in California, they have to be released if they promise to take their medication and if they follow up with services. The new law would let a court order a treatment plan for up to one whole year, which could be extended for a second year. The plan could include medication, housing, and therapy while it shares some of the elements from other programs in other states. The system would be the first of its kind in the country, according to the office of Democratic Senator Tom Umberg. He's also one of the co authors of the law. For decades, California has mostly treated homelessness as a local problem, funneling billions of dollars to the city and county governments each year for various treatment programs. But despite all of that, spending homelessness remains one of the most pressing and visible issues. All of that spending that they're doing, they have not seemed to be able to fix the issue. And I really don't think that they are going to be able to fix the issue, especially one that appears to be a little more orchestrated than most. Here's a quote. Continue to do what you do, what you've done, and you'll get what you've got. And look what we've got. It's unacceptable, Newsom said Wednesday before he signed the law. He continues with this law has been architected to completely, it's different than anything else that we've ever had in the state of California and arguably within the last century. Some progressives have spoken out against Newsom blocking certain priorities. Get this, including vetoing a bill that would have authorized supervised safe injection sites for drug users and imposing a new tax on millionaires that would pay for more electric cars. Say the priorities out there in the West are a bit unique. But in a year when Newsom is on his way to a shoe in reelection bid, they say, with speculation building about his presidential aspirations, this new program prompted criticism from both sides of the political spectrum, with some on the left arguing that it goes too far, while others on the right saying it doesn't go far enough. Newsom signed the law over the strong objections of the American Civil Liberties Union of California, Human Rights Watch, Disability Rights California, and numerous other organizations that work with homeless people, minority communities, and people with disabilities who say that the new program will violate civil rights. They say the courts are a frightening place. It's a frightening place for many people with severe mental illnesses and coercion. And the antithetical to peer based model that is critical for recovery. In other words, critics say that a person needs to want to get help, and that could take months or years. Here's another quote: "There is absolutely no evidence that this plan will work. It's just one more non solution," said Eve Garrow, the policy analyst and advocate for the ACLU of Southern California. And she continues with: "The research shows that adding a coercive element to either housing or mental health services does not increase compliance." And I think I'd have to agree with her on that. The program is not exclusively for homeless people. It only applies to people who have severe mental illness, mostly psychotic disorders, and only if they are unlikely to survive safely in the community without supervision or are likely to harm themselves or others. That means people struggling with alcohol and opioid addiction won't qualify unless they have a diagnosed psychiatric disorder. Hmm. I'm going to pause here because I have to say this, which means that those individuals who are running the state or who are married to people who are would not qualify. There could be no one that would just sign off or say, hey, take him slash her and do away with them. They're having a problem. Keep them for this 1 year because it's obvious that there's an issue. But here's the catch: if they've not been diagnosed with a psychiatric disorder, they'll be hanging around the house, drinking that Budweiser and going off on the family while kicking the dog. Let's just go ahead and look at the rest of the story. The Newsom administration estimates that about 12,000 people could get help under the program. James Gallagher, the Republican leader of the state assembly, said that's not enough. He says, quote, "Although better than nothing, court essentially amounts to a new bureaucratic half measure." This is what Gallagher said, and who, like most of his Republican colleagues, voted for the bill in the state legislature. He continues with, "It's not the groundbreaking policy change that we need. It will help some severely mentally ill people get treatment, but it will not stop the explosion of homeless camps in our communities." I'm going to pause here and make a statement to that. If California truly and honestly did care about their homeless issue, I would definitely tell you that they would not even have this as a problem if they just fixed it. Go down on those prices. Prevent people from being able to raise an apartment that used to cost just 2 years ago $1,000 a month for 2 or 3 bedrooms to the 3,000 and up that they're charging right now. Prevent them from being able to tear up the communities the way that they are, leaving commerce on a track to run away. All businesses are now running, especially the pharmacies and all these other types of places. Small mom and pop shops are afraid to open. Some of them have homeless people that are not only homeless, but they're homeless and they're using drugs right outside of their business, peppering the streets up and down the road. As a matter of fact, Hollywood, the street itself, Hollywood Boulevard, doesn't even look as it used to. Now, back in the day, it used to look pretty gone, but now it looks even worse. Yeah, they've got a problem. They've got a problem. And I venture to say they all know what the problem is. The program would not begin until next year, it says, and only in 7 counties. Now, those counties are Glenn, Orange, Riverside, San Diego, San Francisco, Stanislaus, Tullamoon. I don't even know where that city is. But it must establish their programs by October the 1st, 2023, and all other counties have until December 1st, 2024. Each of California's 58 counties would have to set up a special court just to handle these cases. Counties that don't participate could be fined up to $1,000 a day. Well, that'll fix it. That'll fix it, right? The biggest challenge for the new law will be having enough funding, housing, and workers to implement it without siphoning resources from the hundreds of thousands of county clients already counting on vital behavioral health and substance use disorder services we provide, said Michelle Doty Cabrera, the executive director of the County Behavioral Health Directors Association of California. Now, Newsom echoed those comments, saying implementation will be key. The state budget this year includes $296.5 million for the workforce for a Healthy California for All program, which aims to recruit 25,000 community health workers by 2025. Do the math on that. At the rate of inflation, that's not going to be nearly what they need. And the fix is not money. The fix isn't even this program. The fix is fix your laws and fix your policies, fix your taxes, fix all of that. Again, we know that won't happen because that's not really the goal. Well, what's happening is the goal. And what's happening is what they plan to happen. So this nice stuff right here is a beautiful little pair of earrings on a pig and some lipstick, and you can call it what you want after that. The National Alliance, it continues, on Mental Illness of California supports the proposal, as do business organizations and dozens of cities, including the mayors of Los Angeles, Sacramento, San Francisco, and San Diego. They say treatment models and antipsychotic medications have changed significantly since people were warehoused in institutions. The individual should be able to thrive in the community given the right clinical support team and housing plan. You're turning it into those warehoused institutions all over again. Now, listen, this is nothing more than that with a brand new name. Melinda, this is just a brand new name. Sandy, this is a brand new name. That's all this is. Because what'll happen is all you've got to have, now remember, the top of the story said all you need to have was somebody say this person needs to go. Now, I guarantee you, if they use the clause themselves or another, are they trying to hurt themselves or are they a harm to themselves or others, I should say, excuse me. If that's part of the plan, then they're going to use that clause. Anywhere there's a little bitty peek hole, they're going to use it. And I guarantee you it's not just going to be the homeless, although they are using them as the poster child. And without any advocacy groups that really stand up for them and say, hey, don't use our face, they're it for now. Newsom said that he was exhausted by the arguments from civil liberty groups that the program goes too far. He says their point of view is expressed by what you see on the streets and the sidewalks all across the state. Closed quote. That's what he said. But in essence, that's really not what the issue is. That's really not the problem. That really isn't. The real deal is this homeless issue has been orchestrated. And I tell you what, there is more to this because on Headlines with a Voice and a few, the story that we have planned to go on over there, we're dealing with the evictions that are on the spike. We're dealing with their Project Room Key that they had running for 2 years where they housed some homeless people for the pandemic. And well, it was a hot rump mess. Well, they just ended it. And when they ended it, it caused a big stink. Yeah, it did. It did. It really did, because what ended up happening was a lot of those people who had been housed are no longer housed. And there have been some ill-fated death that happened as well. Some people were not monitored correctly. Some were left in circumstances they shouldn't have been. But this is exactly what was planned. Now that they've shaken it all up, they've shaken it all up. And now they've got people saying, well, yes, we need this. We need these individuals. The mental health courts, yes, we need them. Yes, please give this to us. We're tired of seeing this. We're upset with this. Well, now here's the deal. It's not going to deal with your homeless problem. It is not going to deal with those that you see as having a mental health challenge. Here is the skinny. Hey, Miss Tree, here's the skinny. It's not going to work for them at all. This is to get others to be incarcerated and to be placed in a 72-hour hold and beyond. I guarantee you, they're going to be sweeping up people left and right. And this bill, they're going to emerge. A little secretive part of this bill is going to emerge. hmm A little bitty secretive piece of this bill that nobody knows, but that some will begin to exact on their family and their friends and their loved ones or people that they do not know. Remember, it's not just the family or friends that can go and have these people turned in. Look here, right there. Right now, homeless people with severe mental health disorders bounce from the streets to jails and hospitals. All right? This new law would allow family members, first responders, and others to ask a judge to draw up a treatment plan for someone diagnosed with the certain disorders, including schizophrenia. And if they refuse, they could be placed under a conservatorship and ordered to comply. But they must comply. The new law will let a court order a treatment plan for up to a year. Now get this you got to watch the verbiage. You got to watch it. The new law would let a court order a treatment plan for up to 1 year, which could be extended for a second year. Now, here is the caveat: the plan could include medication, housing, and therapy. It could include it, but it don't have to. Hmm? It doesn't have to. It could, but it doesn't have to. While it shares the same elements of programs in other states, the system would be the first of its kind in the country, according to the office of Democratic State Senator Tom Umberg. So that's where the rub is. It's the first of its kind. Lots of states have it where people can be put on a 72-hour hold. Lots of people have it where you can just say, lots of places have it like that. Lots of places have it. Like, so what's the difference? If it's all the same, what's the difference? There's some difference. And I guarantee you that it's not going to be used for the people that they think is going to be removed. I guarantee you it will not be like that. What it's going to end up being is these individuals being wiped away, taken off, and all you got to do is say, yeah, they're not normal, something wrong with them. They don't have to believe like you believe. Listen to them. It could be somebody being upset because somebody is praying. It could be somebody saying they're talking to themselves. Well, no, they said they're praying. Well, I say they're talking to themselves. Really? Yeah. Now let's find the clause that says we don't have to have a diagnosis. You don't have to have a diagnosis. You don't have to. Just say, look, they've been exemplifying these symptoms for days. Well, they're praying in their closet. They literally got in a small room and decided to pray. I'm telling you, this thing is going to go a whole different way. This is the same state who passed out kits for people to do things to themselves that they would in other states get arrested for if doing publicly. Same state. Drinks water and sets the bottle down. Same state. This is the same exact state that knows about all the homeless people. If you cannot house the homeless, then you know this is not a bill for homeless. This is a bill so they can put a stamp on your forehead, a stamp on your a stamp on your forearm, a stamp on tag on your toe. That's what this is. This is to segregate those that they really want to get at. No, we don't like how you talk. Oh, that's crazy. It doesn't line up with what we're teaching. It doesn't line up with what we're saying. You want your child, your son, your daughter to do what? Because you think about what? What your Bible says? What? No, that can't happen. No, none of this can. No, I think something's wrong. Yeah, let's take them to court. Now, can you imagine with this money that they said that they're going to get, and the 25,000 people they say they're going to hire, take 25,000 and divide them all across all 50 some odd counties they have there in California. This plan is another setup for a disaster. Here, Californians, do me a favor, do yourself a favor. Those of you who know better and should have already been gone, get yourself together and run. You need to get up out of there. This is the same place who has homeless that they had that came from those mountains when they had those fires and they continuously burn, baby, burn. Okay? Same place that had all those fires and all those people were displaced. Same place. My son went out there where his brother is, and he says, "Mom, it's crazy out here." He says, "You should see all of the RVs that are lined up and down the streets. I've never seen so many RVs. The recreational vehicles, the ones with wheels that roll around." My son said, "Mom, I've never seen anything like this before. This place is crazy. I can't wait to get out of here. I just can't wait to leave." And then they've anesthetized the majority of the younger people out there because those dodos don't really realize that what they're smoking when they go purchase it at these dispensary places is not even the real deal. Not the real deal, Holyfield. Yeah, yeah. They don't even know it. They don't even know that there's a patent that's owned on what they're smoking, and that's the reason why it's like crypto-like. It's so strong and powerful, and they don't even understand why they fight for it. These people literally fight for this stuff. This is this is that state's issue. And that state, I don't know what to say, but California, you are in some trouble. And if you do got any good brain cells left in your head, run. Run. Beat it. Oh yeah, that's true, Melinda. That is true. So true. So, that's California. And you know what they say, as California goes, so does the rest of the country. There was a story we just read last week, and it was primarily touching on the fact that I believe it was a part of New York could not do their. It was Hochul. It was the Hochul story that we covered, that they could not do what they wanted to do simply because California hadn't finished doing what they were going to do for their law. And then they said, okay, well, now they've done it. It set precedence. Let's roll with it. Let's just roll with it. But this is going to be an issue for just regular, everyday people. You saw the article. You heard it. Everyone here, you all saw the article. You all heard the article. You know what it's all about. This is not, whenever you have a law or a bill that's written with a lot of words like could, the plan could, look, there's the first, the second, about the fourth sentence down. After this little break, the second sentence. The plan could include medication. It could include housing. It could include therapy. It could. But now, when you get a loved one and you think that's what you're doing, because see, here's the problem. They're going to get a few people that are going to fall through this net. And those individuals that are going to fall through the net are because there are some people who do have some health challenges or some issues that the family really does want to get their loved one, bona fide people with bona fide love and bona fide help and bona fide exhausted from trying to help their loved one. Those individuals are going to be the test dummies. They're going to be the crash dummies, the test pilots, as it were. They're going to fall through the cracks. And when they do fall through the cracks, that's when some of the failures of this plan are going to be exposed. But what's going to happen? We're going to not hear those stories right off because these individuals are going to sign their family members up to go to this court, and they're going to tell them that it could, that they're going to get it. They're going to hear. The plan says it could. The loved one's going to hear it includes housing and therapy. It includes medication. It includes housing. It includes therapy. It includes medication. And they're going to get some help, but that's not what it's going to be. That is not what it's going to be. The goal is to remove large swaths of people they deem mentally unstable. Now, listen, what happens if by the time we dig deeply into this bill, we do discover that there is an immediate place where they can take them for 72 hours and have a panel come and sit before those people. And the panel and the person and the panel in a room together with the light shining ever so intently on the poor person's face while they ask questions and they drill one question after another. Well, they can popcorn questions. You got one person on the right, one person on the left, the person in the center, all throwing questions at this individual that someone from the outside allegedly deemed them as being unstable. They're sitting there. So now what happens? Because we haven't read that. What happens if they have a component that allows them to hold that person for 72 hours and that time allows them to then say, yes, they are psychotic? We're going to say that they do have a problem. Now we've diagnosed them. Okay, off with their heads, put them away. This is what they just said it wasn't. They said while they were comparing it to the old days of when they had the hospitals, the state-run hospitals, okay? Where they had all these people just piled in there. This is that all over again. Again, it just has new lipstick and they just put some pearls around its neck. It's a big old fat sow that they're calling Sally. It's a big old fat pig. They want you to believe it's a chick. It's a big old fat pig. Okay? That's all it is. It's got a Ruth Buzzy snork. That's all. With a little lipstick. Mini pearl hat, cocked to the side with a tag hanging off of it. This is that. They're just going to round people up. I guarantee you that's what it's going to be. California does nothing by accident. And again, it is the precedent that they want. That's all it's going to be. Asylums all over again. Absolutely right, Maureen. That's exactly what this is. No one can tell me that it isn't. Look at what Miss Tree once said. You see that? They don't even know they're prescribing that. See that? See that? And that physician didn't even know they were being used as a part of a larger working machine. Absolutely, Sandy. Oh, of course it is. The housing portion, they're not going to tell people where the housing will be, right? Of course not. They're not going to say that. You guys do me one big favor. I only see about 15 or 16 of us in here. Could you please do me a favor and put a thumbs up if you like it? Okay. It helps a lot with the algorithm. Can you believe this? Yep, all over again, Maureen. Small manufacturers are allowing the use of 1 million gallons per day of municipal potable water. Rhode Island welcomed one of the 15 years ago. Won't get into the toxic waste. They're not even close to being chemists at all, Ministry One. At all. At all. But I guarantee you that this plan will not end well for the state of California. I don't see it ending well. I don't see California having any great success at all. At all. No, I don't. There's a couple of other stories that we can possibly talk about right now, and I want to see if you guys would be interested in any of these. How have you all been? I hope everybody's been well. I really do. I want to ask you guys, what do you think about this movie that they've just recently put out? Wrong. Think will be punished too. So what do you guys think about the new movie that they just recently put out? I hear a lot of people having protest about it, and I don't understand why they would bring this movie up right now, except for the fact that those who are in, high places have decided it is a pressing and a very important story for them to rehash, and that is the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Now, there's a lot of people who've been talking about it. There's a lot of people who are up in arms. I've not watched it, and I don't have to because I lived through that out there. I saw it all, the news clips and all that stuff. But I think that there's a really big purpose for them bringing this topic up right now. What it is completely, don't want to say, but I do feel like it's really unnecessary for them to do this Now you're introducing a very dreadful topic to a group of people who knew nothing of it and who, in my opinion, could have been far better served by never having heard of it or seen it. Good evening, disciple of the Messiah One. How are you? Timothy Graff, it's good to see you. They need more people for medical experimentation once they are deemed that way. Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You guys are thinking right. They're trying to normalize it. Absolutely. Sandy. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would not be surprised if we found in a very quick moment here that there were a lot of things that were being exposed as having that inside of it. You know? Wow. Terrible. But I just don't understand why all of a sudden they thought it'd be necessary to bring that story out and about. But they did it. They did it. And to me, certain stories like that one, as well as the OJ situation, all those things need to just, if people want to find out about it, let them go to the old archives of the newspapers. But I really don't think we should be putting it into movies or monetizing the programs, unless all monetization is going to go to the families of those poor people who were victimized, right? Yeah, I think so. I do think so. I do. I do think so. I think it's a dreadful story for them to rehash, but it falls right in line with the what is that show where they had the zombies, the zombies, the Walking Dead or whatever? It's all in line with all of that stuff. It's all in line with what was going on in the word when they said, yeah, you know what? They're giants. They eat people. They're giants and they're out there devouring the flesh like bread. What the word says. Yeah, that's what this is about. It's the same cat, same camp. Same cats and same camp. Hmm. Exactly, the same cats and the same camp. But we already know. We already know who wins. Oh boy, how exhausting it must be for them to continuously do these heinous things, create these heinous stories, rehash these terrible things, and feel as if they've now, got a whole new sect of people who now want to flow with them, which is creepy in and of itself. Hmm. You see? All of these suggestive type of programmings, oh, it's okay. It's all right. Well, you remember there was a story about these people who got in a car crash or a plane crash or they were shipwrecked and they didn't have any food. No, not one coconut off the tree. No, not one. Oh, they couldn't survive off the bugs that they dug and found at the bottom of the snow. No, not at all. No, no, they couldn't. They needed far more than that. They needed more protein to survive. And so they did X, Y, or Z. All of this stuff is just programming the mind to do unthinkable, ungodly, unfathomable things. But this is the place they want it. They want you to be in a situation where you can't get away if you wanted to. Well, you're only going to go a couple of 100 miles, maybe like 100 or something. Not going to go that far. Can't go that far. Well, you can't go that far because you got an electric car. So you can't go that far. You cannot go that far because you just got an electric car. So you're not going to go that far. Hmm. And that's going to be a problem in and of itself. Listen, the Lexus battery by itself, I think, is over $40,000. And they claim that you're not going to need one for 8 years. That's the Lexus battery. Then you got the other batteries, like the standard ones. I think, which one was that I pulled? One went from $11,000 to $14,000. Those are just the batteries. Now, did you guys just see recently they were pushing an electric car because they had a problem? Something electrical went wrong. And I'm not laughing at the people who go out and purchase them. You can buy whatever kind of car you want. I just don't feel like it should be necessary to mandate. That's all. That's what I feel. This boxed water is pretty good. It's called Just Water. It's 100% spring water for now. It's sustainably sourced water in a plant-based carton. Plant-based carton. I don't know. You may find out something about that later, but it's good for now. Pretty tasty. So, you guys, I just wanted to bring that to you, and I wanted to have a conversation with you because I feel like, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a problem here. There's a problem. They just don't have a script or a playbook after all. Hmm. Absolutely, Melinda. What? Sandy, are you kidding me? No, I haven't. I have not heard about those at all. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. That is pretty creepy. Hmm. So, for those of you who are just coming in, make sure that you check down below in the production notes so that you can follow along with the story if you decide that you want to rewatch this. But what we were talking about is right here. And when you scroll there, you'll see it. I can give you the bullet points for those who are just popping in. Here's what you need to know. The Community Assistance Recovery and Empowerment Act would let family members, first responders, and others ask a judge to draw up a treatment plan for someone diagnosed with certain disorders, including schizophrenia. Hey, you guys, I just got through picking this piece again. Here's the deal. Here is the deal. Here is the deal. Do you see that? The Community Assistance Recovery and Empowerment Act would let family members, first responders, and others ask a judge to draw up a treatment plan for someone diagnosed. It didn't say that they had to have a pre-existing diagnosis. They were right. Do you see that? We were right earlier with what we were thinking. We were absolutely right with what we were thinking. Because all they'd have to do is take the person and hold them for 72 hours, get a panel to give them the diagnoses. They can have something that speeds it through. And I'm going to look this up because I think we might be right. With certain disorders, including schizophrenia. I know, that was terrible to hear that, Melinda. You see, Miss Tree, now you guys are cooking with me. Now you're cooking. Miss Tree, I think you're onto something. That's it. He would not know unless they bring him a diagnosis. But the diagnoses would have to have been done beforehand, which is why I believe they're going to use that 72-hour 5150 hold. You guys talk amongst yourself while I open the door. All right, guys, I'm back. Had to open up the door. It's Fish. Please get out of my kitchen. Get out of my. I'm live and get out of my kitchen because I'm live. They come in the house at the football practice. Go take a shower. So now, hey, Poppy Love, how you doing? No, we're looking at this. Yes, disciple of the Messiah, exactly. So, what do you guys think? Do you see that? See, just by us rereading this all over again, we see exactly what this is. Because, see, we're looking at it just as being Janine, hi. We're looking at this story as it just being, hey, here's a new rule they have. But remember what we said, this story, they said in the very body of this story that it's one of the first in the it's the first in the United States, which means there are some nice little colorful pieces that are in here. There are some colorful pieces that are in here. The Community Assistance Recovery and Empowerment Act would let family members, first responders, and others. Others like who? My neighbor? Others like who? The school teacher that is complaining because the parent says, hey, listen, when he comes to school in this outfit, please let him stay in it all day. I don't want him changing. Poppy Love, who are the others, right? Yikes. That's right. Do you see that? And others. Who are the others? Could the others be somebody who sees, a child cutting up and the parents say, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna put you on punishment." Could that person be another? Where does this stop? Yes, the ex that hates you. Where does it stop? Yes, it is way too general. That's absolutely right, Poppy Love. And others. Hello, Janine says, beautiful saints from Las Vegas. We fly home soon. Safe travels. Do you see that? And others. Ask a judge. Just go ask him. I don't wanna. Just go ask him and see what he says. I don't wanna. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But Californians, you won't be able to tell any of them this. Not those that are, a little half asleep. They're not gonna believe what. That's not what the law says at all. Hey, Esther. That's exactly what's gonna happen. And others, to ask a judge to draw up a treatment plan for someone diagnosed with certain disorders. So the couple of disorders that they're going to pull out of their hat on this panel that we've just talked about that could be in existence, okay? It could be, because that was just an example. That was a for instance. What if they, for instance, brought up a panel? Because how could a judge make that diagnosis? The judge couldn't make that diagnosis. And if they're saying the person has a problem, well, the problem we see, but how do you get a diagnosis? And how long was this person hanging around at the point where you were able to zap them and make them give you, enough time to figure that out? You see? And others, to ask a judge to. So could it happen at the dark, at late part of the night? In the late of night, in the thick of night. This would not be about the homeless, but they put the homeless face on it as the poster child to make the public calm down and be quiet. This isn't talking about your normal child or your normal husband or your normal wife or your normal son, your normal daughter, your normal neighbor. This is talking about those homeless people out there. They allowed the face to be used for them. Some of those, there's just too many of them walking up and down the street talking to themselves, or there's just too many of them acting a bit rash. There's just too many of them out there, and we cannot control them all. So we want to ask a judge to draw up a treatment plan so that we can get them help. But what kind of help would you be giving them? Well, they claim that they could possibly get housing. They could possibly get medical attention. They could possibly get some medicine. Critics say the model will force some people with schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders into taking medication and therapy. You think? And see, look here. If the person has been diagnosed, how could you force? It said force. Critics say the model will force some people with schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders into taking medication and therapy. Isn't that part of what they do anyhow? So who is it that you'll be forcing? Take away all of this here for people with it, and just deal with forcing. The critics model that it will force people into taking medication and therapy. California has spent billions of dollars to address homelessness, but residents say they're still confronted by homeless people. We need help. Get them off the streets. We're confronted by homeless people who need psychiatric intervention. How do you know they need psychiatric intervention? Well, I have an answer. Put them on a 72-hour hold. Let a panel look at them, and then take that documentation to the judge, who can now make that decision to say, yep, put them away. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So if you believe a certain way, or if you don't want Bobby to do something wrong, and you thinking Bobby should stay Bobby, or you thinking Sally shouldn't tamper with what Bobby likes, or what Bobby wears, or what Bobby does with other people like Sally's, then you're going to have a problem, because we think we need to have a judge. Let's put this person away. Put him away. Let's put him away. Who do we have to help us? Well, call a first responder. The family members. Ask others. Others. First responders and others. First responders and others. Let's draw up a treatment plan. Yep. This right here is going to be a hot mess. They are setting the stage. Everything they do is setting the stage. And for them to say, this is the first one of its kind in the nation. Oh, definitely, Sandy. This is, hey, Proverbs 19:19, Matthew 22:3. What's going on? Yeah. For them to say that this is dealing with homeless, this ain't no homeless. This ain't about that. This is about them setting the stage to make sure that what they are doing is putting those who believe in some firm things. Because, see, you got to remember, what's right is wrong and what's wrong is right now. What's left is right and what's right is left. What's up is down and what's down is up. If you say night, they say day. Even if it's night. And if you say it's night when they say it's day, even if it's night, because you say it's night and they say it's day, they gonna call the judge. They can call the judge. That's what this is. I'm telling you, that's what this is. I'm going to dig into this I'm going to dig into this thing, and I want to look really, really closely. Really, really closely. Because, yes, we all know that there are states that say, hey, listen, if a person is exemplifying some type of threat to themselves or others, they can definitely be held on a 72-hour hold. For others, for this Democratic senator to say, hey, listen, this is the most... we are the ones. We're the only ones in the state, that in the country, that has this, the state of the union that has this. And most assuredly, we are the only ones who are doing this right now. So juxtapose that to other places having 72-hour holds, and I guarantee you, somebody going to be in trouble. Somebody going to be in trouble. You're not even going to be able to trust your neighbor. This is part of 1984, and I think it was Sandy that said it earlier. Hey, Timothy, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Timothy. That's right. They say, no way. Oh, this person's nuts. You believe in that document? Oh, you're crazy. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. There's no help out there. We are on our own, Janine says. You see this? Yeah. Well, I remember this when it happened, and I read the appendix, and people looked at me like I was nuts. But I read the appendix. Yep. It was there. I think I just deleted the. I had it pinned inside of my notes. They did the same thing in Georgia. They did the exact same thing in Alabama. There are a couple of other states that have that now, where they will use people for medical positions because of their shortage. That's exactly what they're doing, Maureen. They are, but they're doing it in a way that'll be far worse, because back then you could still get in to check on your family. You know what I mean? You could still somehow figure out a way where you could still go see them. This right here, this is going to be a court order where they say they could get housing. Well, they're going to give you housing. You need to go. Just let's let the judge help you. They could give you housing. They could give you medication. They could. That's what the story says. So, keeping in mind that this is what's going on in California, look for some more draconian laws and draconian ideas made to go on and throughout the United States. Just look out for it. It's 49 minutes and 36 seconds into this live. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I request that you please hit that like button. Please, it's free to hit the like button. It costs us nothing to get the word out. And let's all remember sweet, sweet, sweet. I used to love this lady. She passed away today. And it's really hard to see. All of the greats are leaving now. Really hard to see. But you guys just keep her family in your prayers, okay? Because it is very sad to see it. Hey, watchful and alert. Hi, my wife has tuned in. Well, hello, Mrs. Watchful and Alert. She is now a subscriber. Hooray for Hollywood. We're happy to have you. The lady, hey lady, it's Watchful and Alert's wife. There she is, Christina. You guys give our sister, Christina Bostic, a love hug. You guys know how we do it here. You know how we do it. I want to see people hugging her. If I were there, I'd be hugging your neck, Christina. That's exactly right. Your husband is a great, great brother to this channel. Hello, M. Leslie. Howdy, peeps. Howdy, howdy, howdy. So you guys see what this is going to do. This is going to open, and it absolutely has opened a Pandora's box. It most assuredly has opened a Pandora's box. It did. Okay, you guys, I love and honor good. We're very happy to have you. Very happy to have you here. Okay. So you guys, listen, we're creeping up on that hour. You know how it is. We don't like to go over the hour, but we're getting there. And so what I want to tell you guys is to keep your eyes open for these types of laws, especially now that you know that the state of California has been successful in doing this, and to bring it forth that all the other states look at California as the measuring stick, because they figure, well, hey, if you guys have already proofed it and you've gotten it through your, laws there, through your deciding and prying eyes there, well, surely we can do it here. So look out for that, you guys. You guys look out for this stuff. Now, I want to know, do you guys want to cover the homeless story here with the evictions and all of that stuff here? Or do you want to go over to Headlines with a Voice? We've already put up a story there. We could most assuredly just go on ahead and go into it here, as I see most of the folks that follow us over on Headlines are here. And then I could invite Headlines. I think that's what we're going to do, you guys, because I do want to see this. Okay? I do want to see this. I know some may drop off. I hope not. But listen. Okay. All right. We'll do it over there. But I just want to give you guys a sneak peek. I just want to give you a sneak. Okay? Oh, yes. I know about the ranch at Jerry Tony's place. Yes, it's on my list of places to go. Yes, Janine says. Okay. Here's one of the stories. Gonna read it. Just gonna read it. There we go. All right. So evictions are spiking nationally, and it's very depressing. Homeless. This is for, no, I don't want that one. I want this one. You guys don't want that one. You want this one, right? Project Room Key. Here we are. This is the one that I want us to see. It's a general story. It's not so fancy schmancy, but it does cover a lot of ground. And I think it speaks volumes about what was going on during the time of the pandemic and now what they are doing right now. Now, Project Room Key was something that took place in the state of California, and it was supposed to assist and aid people who were homeless or who were ill or something would happen, and they needed a place to stay during the pandemic. Well, let me share the screen with you so that I can present this to you. What they're doing is, it's all over. The party's over, and the folks got to go. They don't know where they got to go, but they cannot stay there. Project Room Key clients find themselves back on the streets as the pandemic program ends. a federal pandemic program that sheltered more than 10,000 unhoused Angelenos. That's just the Los Angeles part. Over the past 2 years is now set to end, and it did September 30th, according to Mayor Eric Garcetti's office and the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. Hotels contracted for Project Room Key have been steadily closing as the project draws to a close, with some clients already back living on the streets. The Friday of the writing of this story, which was, of course, we know September, participant Daniel Dickerson was trying to figure out where he would sleep that night. Now, here is the reason why this touched my soul. Because of the fact that they gave these individuals a Band-Aid for a systemic problem for them. They did not take them in this program and then help them to get stable and then put them in a place where they had for them and allow them to pay rent monthly, help them do whatever they needed to do, whether it be go get a job, whether it be, get a stable, get a piece of car, a bicycle, or some type of transportation, maybe give them a subsidized pricing on a bus pass or something. They didn't do that. They allowed these people to stay here for a couple of years, 2 years at best. 2.5. Daniel Dickerson was trying to figure out where he would sleep that night. He had just abandoned his tent after gang members showed up flashing guns at his new encampment. He said, quote, "I can't live anywhere," Dickerson said as he checked to see what he had stored in his backpack. What an audacity to think that I should be allowed to live somewhere. He says, "I guess I should just go die somewhere. That's what they want." This is the part that hurts my heart, because they gave these people a false sense of security by giving them this, and not helping them to matriculate to a better situation, okay? Over the last 2.5 years, this is the hopelessness that people now face. And this man's account is an honest assessment of what he thinks about his current situation. The story goes on to say that until last week, Dickerson had a room at the Mayfair Hotel, and on July 1st, 215 were sheltered at the hotel, according to data provided to the mayor's office by the LAHSA. By Friday, there were only 2. Participant Carmela Fitzpatrick, who also was back out on the streets, though she was counting her blessings because she still had her RV. She drove to Mar Vista looking for another participant, Scott, whom no one had seen since Mayfair closed. Quote, "It's very scattered," Fitzpatrick said. "Some people have moved to just another hotel that's a part of the project, and some people have gotten their Section 8 vouchers and their location. Some people have not," closed quote. A few room key hotels will provide shelter through September out of 600 at the LA Grand Hotel. 1/3 have emergency housing vouchers, but have not yet found landlords to accept them, according to Councilman Kevin DeLeon's office. Now you give them the voucher, but there's no landlords to take it. For whatever the reason, landlords have elected not to do it. Now it says, quote, "LA can't afford to go back on the promises made to the PRK participants. My staff and I have doggedly requested a ramp down plan from the LAHSA on multiple occasions, and the lack of follow through has been a huge concern," close quote. He said this in a statement to Spectrum News 1. A spokesperson for LAHSA said they weren't able to comment for the story, but they would provide more information about the end of the Project Room Key. In March, the agency reported Los Angeles had already spent more than $220 million on the program. The federal government had not reimbursed the city for any of the costs at this point, according to the mayor's office. Dickerson was turned away from the Los Angeles Grand because the service provider couldn't verify that he's vaccinated. Even though He was recently staying at the Mayfair, and it's nearly impossible to keep track of documents when you're homeless. Dickerson said that he has borderline personality disorder, schizoaffective disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and post-traumatic stress. FEMA funded Room Key to help cities provide a place to quarantine during the pandemic, but it became a catch-all for the unhoused as city council members increased sweeps and demolished their encampments. In his new book, Homelessness is a Housing Problem, Greg Colburn argues there is simply not enough affordable housing to end the homeless crisis in cities like Los Angeles. He continues with, we need lots and lots more housing. We need housing that's affordable for people working at minimum wage. We need housing for people with substance and mental disorders. Don't worry, according to the last story we just read, they've got a way. If we fail to provide those units, we're going to see this unsheltered homelessness crisis in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, and Seattle continue to flourish. It's terrible for the people experiencing homelessness, and it's bad for the community, close quote. While temporary, Room Key provided clients like Dickerson the security of a locked door in exchange for following rules, including strict curfews and drug searches. Here's another quote from Dickerson. One of my symptoms is isolation. It makes me suicidal, he says, almost instantly. So how pleasant do you think it is that Room Key won't allow me to have a visitor? To Fitzpatrick, it was a missed story to help people rebuild their lives and regain trust in the system. Fitzpatrick says, especially when you've been in a bad position, you get very depressed. Dickerson is outraged and bitter. His only shred of hope is a single sheet of paper, one of those precious housing vouchers that would subsidize his rent if he could find an affordable apartment in Los Angeles. That is the rub. That is the rub. And it's happening all over. All over. B. Rose, hey, precious. Oh, you sweet baby, I'm glad to see you. And Trump said, how are you? But that's part of the problem. There in the state of California, as well as others, especially on the West Coast, there are a bevy of these programs that are closing. And while these programs are closing, it is not going to give those individuals that they gave the Band-Aid to a permanent raft for safety. There is no permanent healing for them. There is none. There is nothing. Can you imagine the hopelessness that people must feel, the helplessness that they must feel, having had a shelter? Well, let's start from before 2019. They were homeless. 2020, they get this program that seems to be something to help them. They get a voucher. Now, almost 3 years later, the program comes to an end. They've got a worthless piece of paper. No, I'm not talking about a dollar bill. They've got a voucher that says they qualify for housing, and now they can't get anywhere. Alan Davis, my brother, how are you? This is America. This is us, folks. Lights, camera, action. Read all about it. It's us. We're the ones. Quite often you've heard me say on this channel that we need an America sometimes to step on in, nudge up against those government officials and say, hey, you can't do that to humans. They've got human rights. You're in violation of those. But we don't get it, do we? I want to thank you guys for spending the last hour and 3 minutes with me. I so appreciate each and every one of you guys for hanging out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, Alan Davis, it is. It really is. It really is. You guys, remember what we always say on any Felicia Lockhart publication, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. You guys take care of yourselves, and then I want you to take care of everybody else around you. And until you and I see each other again, I want you to please continue to be blessed. You take care. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping